Okay, so today's date is Tuesday, February 17th, 2026, and it's time for another deep dive.
It is, and I've got a mountain of documents here, as always. I figure we can just kind of cut through it and get to the really wild stuff.
I love to hear it. But before we jump in, I need to get a bit serious for a second. The sources we're looking at today include the J-mail leaks, which, are all about Jeffrey Epstein.
Right. That whole scandal, it shook everything up.
It did. And while our focus is mostly on the financial maneuvering and the Silicon Valley social networks, the context here is serious crime and trauma. So if that's something that's tough for you to hear about, please just take care of yourself today.
That's important to say, for sure. We're really focusing on the structure of it all, how the adults in the room behaved.
Exactly. So with that said, let's shift gears. I have a question for you right out of the gate. Have you ever heard the word shibboleth?
Shibboleth? Huh. That's a deep cut. It's like a password or something, right? A secret handshake kind of word?
Sort of. But not just any password. What if mispronouncing a single word could get you killed on the spot?
Whoa, okay. That's extreme. What do? You just practice, I guess. But if you get it wrong, that's it.
That's it. What if you never learned the correct pronunciation? Or what if, because of the accent you grew up with, you physically couldn't make that sound?
Right, so there's no way out. It's a trap. That's incredibly messed up.
It is. And today, I want to connect the history of that deadly password with a much quieter, more insidious kind of password that was being used in modern Silicon Valley.
So you're linking an ancient massacre to the email history of Joi Ito and Reid Hoffman. They seem pretty unrelated on the surface.
You'd think so, but it's shockingly similar. It's all about in-group versus out-group. Today, we're digging into the password that draws that line, the shibboleth.
Okay, I'm in. So let's start with the original. What exactly is a shibboleth?
Lay it on us. This goes back to the Bible, right?
It does. From the book of Judges in the Old Testament. The word itself originally just meant something like ear of corn or stream. We're talking over 1,000 years BCE.
Ancient history.
So back then, two tribes, the Gileadites and the Ephraimites, were at war. The Gileadites won, and the losing Ephraimites tried to flee across the river. The Gileadites set up a checkpoint, and at this checkpoint, they made every single person trying to cross say one word, shibboleth.
Just say the word.
That's the trap. See, in the Ephraimite dialect, they didn't have the sound. They could only pronounce it with an S, so they'd say sibboleth.
Oh, wow. So their accent gave them away instantly.
Instantly. The second they said sibboleth, they were identified as the enemy, and they were killed right there. According to the text, 42,000 people were killed at that river crossing alone.
42,000 people for not being able to make a sound. That's horrifying. The word itself became a weapon, a sorting mechanism.
It's the most brutal, simple test to figure out if you're in-group or out-group. Are you one of us or are you one of them?
And this isn't just some ancient story. This is the part of the research that gave me chills. It happened in Japan in 1923 during the Great Kanto Earthquake.
Yeah. The massacres that followed the disaster, I remember learning about that. It's just devastating to read the details.
It is. In the chaos after the quake, this rumor started spreading that Koreans are poisoning the wells. So vigilante groups and even police started stopping people on the street and forcing them to say jugo-en, goji-sen, 15 yen, 50 cents.
Because of Korean phonology. Certain voice sounds at the beginning of words are difficult, so they use that as a test. I think they also used gai-gu-ge-go.
The truly terrifying part is that it wasn't a perfect test. Japanese people with regional accents, people with hearing impairments, they couldn't say it right either, and they were killed too. It's just chaos.
In a state of total panic, people look for shortcuts. They want to know in a split second if the person in front of them is a friend or a foe. And pronunciation became that shortcut. All reason just goes out the window.
And it happened everywhere. In the Dominican Republic, it was about whether you could roll the R in perejil parsley. Thousands of Haitians were killed over it.
During World War II, American soldiers used the word Lollapalooza to spot Japanese soldiers playing on the LR confusion.
So shibboleth isn't just a word. It's a brutal authentication system. It asks, are you on our side?
And if you fail that authentication, you're excluded. Or worse. So, how does this connect to the tech world? Surely they're not doing pronunciation tests at Google.
Of course not. But a different kind of shibboleth definitely exists. And the proof, the evidence of people taking that test, is right here in the J-mail Encyclopedia leak.
Which was just generated in February 2026, so this is fresh. Whose emails are we talking about?
And one of the main players here is Joichi Ito, or Joi, the former director of the MIT Media Lab. And the archives show 10,448 emails between him and Jeffrey Epstein.
10,000. Okay, that is not a casual acquaintance. That's a business partner or a very close friend.
It spans from 1991 to 2020, nearly 30 years. But the crucial period is what happened after Epstein was convicted of sex crimes in 2008.
Logically, you'd cut ties.
Right.
From a client standpoint alone, it's a no-brainer.
But the MIT Media Lab did the opposite. Officially, on paper, they listed Epstein as a disqualified donor. He was on the blacklist. Publicly, they couldn't take his money.
As they shouldn't. It's tainted money.
But what do you think Joi Ito and the others called him internally? They called him Voldemort.
From Harry Potter, he who must not be named.
And it wasn't just a joke. It was a signal. It was the modern Shibboleth. It meant, we know his name is toxic, so we'll use a code word to process his money in secret. By calling him Voldemort, they were confirming to each other, we are all in on this conspiracy together.
How did they actually get the money? If he's on a blacklist, you can't just run it through the normal accounting channel.
This is where it gets desperate. At one point, a check for $25,000 came directly from one of Epstein's foundations. MIT's central office actually bounced it. They rejected it.
So the system worked, initially.
But Joi Ito didn't give up. He emails Epstein, tells him it bounced, and then suggests other routes. He proposes funneling the money through another billionaire, Leon Black, or even routing it through a project at Arizona State University to wash it before it got to the Media Lab.
Wait, they laundered it through a different university. That's not an accident. That's intentional deception.
There are other emails about routing money through a guy named Andrew Farkas. Ito just asked Epstein to send details so that he could figure out how to make Voldemort's money look clean.
Why go to all this trouble? For a few tens of thousands of dollars, MIT has a huge endowment.
That's the million-dollar question. And Joi Ito also went to Epstein's island, Little St. James. There's a record of him arriving by boat on July 3rd, 2013.
By boat, not helicopter. Trying to be discreet, maybe.
Could be. And while he was there, he was showing Epstein haikus written by AI, talking about neural networks. Essentially, helping to feed his brain cravings, as one source puts it.
So Epstein wanted intellectual validation, and Joi Ito wanted unrestricted research funding. And their interests aligned, so they crossed a moral line together. Their shibboleth was, he might be a criminal, but if he has money and intellect, he's one of us. It's a rotten password.
But Joi's wasn't the only one in this rotten circle. A much bigger name was involved. Someone often seen as, like, the conscience of Silicon Valley. LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman.
Wow, him too. He has a reputation as a connector, a networker, but also as a pretty thoughtful guy.
And Epstein was part of that network. The Jmail archive has 2,461 emails involving Hoffman and his circle.
Over 2,000. Again, not just a casual connection.
For Epstein, Hoffman was the ultimate character witness. When Epstein was trying to get in with Qatari royals or Russian oligarchs, he'd drop Hoffman's name. He's a good friend of mine. Top of the techies.
So it's reputation rehabilitation. He was trying to use a photo op with the Silicon Valley Titan to erase the convicted sex offender label.
Exactly. And Hoffman didn't just allow it. He actively brought him in. For a venture fund, Joi Ito started called Neotiny 4. Hoffman was the anchor investor. We're talking $5 to $10 million. And he personally reached out to Epstein and encouraged him to invest too. Let's talk on Skype.
So he's actively recruiting him as a business partner.
And then there's this one scene. I want you to just picture it. December 5th, 2014, Epstein's townhouse on the Upper East Side of Manhattan.
The very important breakfast from the emails.
That's the one, 8 in the morning. Around the table, you have the host, Jeffrey Epstein, you have Bill Gates, you have Reid Hoffman, and two other investors, Josh Harris and Ron Barron.
Bill Gates, too. That is a staggering concentration of wealth and power in one room.
And get this, Reid Hoffman had spent the night at Epstein's house.
He slept over. In New York City, it's not like there's a shortage of five-star hotels.
Right. Their assistants coordinated the flights. He stayed under the same roof. This isn't a meeting at the office relationship. This is an inner circle, family-level closeness.
So for Hoffman, Epstein wasn't just some investment. He was a member of the club. And even knowing he was a convicted sex offender, he treated him as an equal, as one of us.
And we're back to the Shibboleth. The unspoken agreement was, he made a mistake in the past, but he speaks our language, the language of money, power, and influence. And the moment they accepted that, the existence of his victims just vanished from their minds.
He's one of us becomes the excuse to suspend your own ethics. That's the danger of the modern Shibboleth. From the outside, it looks insane, but from inside the club, it's just the rules of the game.
But that club, which seemed so impenetrable, it eventually collapsed.
It did. In 2019, Epstein was arrested again, and everything came out into the open, and their reactions at that moment are very telling.
What happened to Joi Ito?
He was forced to resign in September 2019 after a whistleblower and reporting from The New Yorker exposed the whole cover-up. The source suggests the whistleblower acted with a kind of deep-throat logic, a truly courageous act.
And Hoffman.
He issued a public apology in September 2019, said he regretted helping Epstein with his reputation, but behind the scenes, it was a different story.
What do you mean?
According to reports, right up until Ito resigned, Hoffman was privately defending him, strongly, saying Joi did nothing wrong. He was trying to protect his in-group until the last possible second, until Ronan Farrow's story made it impossible.
He tried to honor the Shibboleth to the very end. He chose loyalty to the club over the truth.
And this is the kicker. Get this. In February 2019, just a few months before Epstein's final arrest, Hoffman was still inviting him to events like the Brain Mind Summit. And Epstein's reply is just prophetic.
What did he say?
He wrote back, "If I come to the West Coast, will you have the courage to meet?"
The courage to meet. Wow, he was testing him.
He knew he was social poison, and that meeting with him required courage. We're taking a huge risk. It's almost like he was asking, will you still honor our Shibboleth? Are you still one of us?
That's chilling. Epstein knew they were motivated by self-preservation and profit, not morals. Like he was saying, come on, you still need my money and my connections, don't you?
Hoffman might have been trying to create some distance at that point, but he hadn't fully cut the cord. And Epstein saw that hesitation and called him on it.
At the end of the day, the massacre at the river and the scandal at the media lab, they come from the same place. Using words or shared secrets to divide the world into us and them. And once you decide someone is us, the rules of society, of law, of morality, they just stop applying.
The 21st century Shibboleth isn't a pronunciation test, it's a morality test. It's, are you willing to look the other way? Can you sign off on processing a donation from Voldemort by listing it as anonymous? That was the password to stay in the elite club.
And by continuing to speak that password, Joi Ito and Reid Hoffman damaged their most valuable asset, their credibility. Ito's resignation was the direct result of choosing the club's shibboleth over the truth.
He might have thought he was protecting the institution, protecting MIT, but he used the wrong tools to do it.
So, a final thought for everyone listening. Think about your own world, your industry, your company, even your group of friends. Is there a shibboleth?
Something you have to agree with to fit in, even if it feels wrong.
Exactly. Like, ignoring this is just part of being a team player. Or, oh, that's just how he is, we don't talk about it. Are you repeating some hidden password without even realizing?
Because that password might just be locking you on the wrong side of a very important line. And sometimes, once you say it, you can't go back.